Hey guys, it's Aubrey. I thought I would give you a health update, because I haven't done that in a while, and I recently watched part of my last health update video, and I realized that a lot about what I talked about in that video, saying I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this test, I have done those, and I have the results from some of them, so I'm going to share those with you. So one of the biggest, so I think in the last video I said I was going to do a tilt table test. Did I say that? Well, I did a tilt table test, and that's part, I'll explain what it is later. I did a tilt table test, I did an echocardiogram, I had an appointment with a GI specialist. We have not done any testing yet. That was just my first appointment with her to talk, and so I do have to go back to a different city that's like 2 hours away for testing. But I did get into that appointment and have not gotten to the geneticist for some reason, but my doctor, my local doctor, decided that he wanted to just test my genes for the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome panel in the clinic, and me and my mom were kind of confused about why they didn't do that before, because it was really simple test for me to do. I just had to like spit in a tube and fill it up, and they were like really surprised with how fast I filled it up. I don't know if that's too much information or not. But so the tilt table test. What a tilt table test is first of all, they lay you down on a table and they strap you in and they hook you up to the vital monitors, so they can get a baseline of what is normal for you while you're laying down. I think they had me lay down for about 10 minutes laying down, to make sure that my body had time to like actually get to a baseline, like resting. And I think my resting heart rate was 70. A lot of people with POTS have tachycardia even when they're laying down. So anything over 100 is considered tachycardia. I actually have a pretty normal, and that's a pretty good resting heart rate. 70. It's around there. And I think my blood pressure was normal laying down. And then what they did is, well, first of all, they tested my breath to see if my brain was telling my body to do the right things when I was breathing, if that makes sense. How they did that is while I was laying down, they had a little chain and they wrapped it around my stomach, not like tightly to where it was like squeezing me, but tight enough so that when I breathed, it pushed on it, and it was like a sensor to let them know that I took a breath, because I'm a belly breather, and if you're a chest breather, they would have put it like up here. But for me, I breathed from my belly. So when I took a breath, my belly went up, notified the sensor that I took a breath. And I was laying down, and they had this little thing that I had to follow. It was like bar things. I don't know. I don't think that makes much sense. But anyway, it told me, okay, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And I had to do that, I think, 8 times. I think it was 8. But I did a couple of sets. And what they found from that is that well, I'll tell you after. So I did that test, and then they gave me time to rest again, because I was out of breath from breathing, which is funny. But then the tilt part happens, and this is the part that most people are the most familiar with when they think of a tilt table test. So they had me strapped in, and they moved the table from a lying down position to an almost standing position. I don't think they put you all the way up. I think that it's almost standing, so you can like lean against it on the back, but it feels like you're standing basically. And what the tilt table test is for is so that they can monitor your heart rate and your blood pressure while you make the change from laying to standing. And they had me take off my compression stockings. Like, see? I have 2 on right now. I don't recommend wearing 2 unless you need to, because it could be dangerous, but it's not for me because I have a medical condition. But and so I took off my compression stockings. The compression stockings help my body to push the blood back up to my heart and my brain. I will still pass out if I wear the compression stockings, but it will take a little bit longer. And also they had me not take my medication that morning. What they originally told my mom when she was on the phone with them was they told her she can't take her medication for, I forgot exactly how long they said. I think it was different for each medication. So I think one of them, they said I couldn't take it for 2 or 3 days, and the other one couldn't take it for 2 or 3 days, and the other one I couldn't take for like 1 day before. And my mom told them she has to take her medication or we're not going to be able to get her up there, because this was at Stanford University, which is a few hours away from where I am, and I do have to go over like kind of like hills and stuff. My mom told them there's no way we can get her up there without the medication. And so they said, okay, she can take her my doctor told me that it was okay for me to take my medication, just not that morning. So to just miss my morning dose right before. The people who originally told us that were I think they were the ladies at the desk, and they were probably just doing off a protocol, but my doctor said it was okay to take it the day before, just not that morning. And everyone was pretty shocked at the results. I personally wasn't. I knew what the results were going to look like. I was even a little surprised at how drastic they were, though. But as soon as they started moving me from this to this, my numbers went haywire. They just went crazy. And the nurse who was in there, because when I was doing the test, I had 2 people in the room with me. I had my doctor and a nurse. The nurse that was in there, when she started laughing. I think she was like nervously laughing. But I think what was funny about it is before the test, she was explaining to me what would happen. I think this was before my doctor had come in the room. She was explaining to me what we're going to do. We're going to want you to stand for 20 to 30 minutes, and we're going to monitor your all that. And she was really nice. But I said, I don't think I can stand for 20 to 30 minutes. And she said, oh, that's okay. If you can't stand for for that long, we can bring you down. I said, okay. And she told me that the minimum amount the minimum I could stand was 10 minutes. And I even told her, like, I don't think I can stand for 10 minutes. I made it to 8. So she originally asked me to stand for 20 to 30. I said, that's not gonna happen. I could try, but at 8 minutes, I started almost passing out, and I felt horribly sick, and so I asked them to bring me down. But I'm kind of rambling. Anyway, the results of the test. My blood pressure dropped to almost half of what is normal. My blood pressure dropped. The lowest it got was 73. For the top number, I don't know what the bottom number was, but for the top number it was 73, and I believe that a normal blood pressure is about 120. So that's almost half of I lost almost half of my blood pressure and he said that that the lowest number happened at a minute 30. So after a minute and 30 seconds of standing, I lost almost half of my blood pressure. So my blood pressure just plummeted super quickly. Again, like I said, as soon as I started moving, the numbers went. And the whole time, my heart rate was just going up, 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 and it ended up going up 67 beats in 8 minutes. It got to 137. I was a little bit surprised about that because I've had it higher than 137 before. I think the highest I've ever seen it was about 150 or 160, and that was walking in the kitchen. But I think I was a little bit stronger at the time of this test, so maybe that's why. But so I lost almost half my blood pressure and my heart rate went up 67 beats during the tilt table test, and I couldn't make it to 10 minutes, which was fine because they had plenty of data. So my advice to anyone who's nervous about doing a tilt table test, I almost didn't want to do it because it kind of felt a little bit pointless to me, because mostly because of how severe my POTS is, I think, since I already knew what would come up. I already knew that I had orthostatic hypotension because we've checked for orthostatic hypotension, and I have orthostatic hypotension, which is why my blood pressure dropped. I didn't know it was going to go that low. It was kind of a surprise. And I already knew that I had postural tachycardia, which is my heart rate goes up when I stand. So I already knew that when I stood, my blood pressure dropped and my heart rate went up. I already knew that, and I'm pretty sure my doctor already knew that. But I think they wanted to test how much it changed, you know. And I'm glad I did it. So if you are debating on whether or not you do want to do it, I think it's worth it. It kind of sucks at the time, but and this is horrible that like this is one of the main reasons why I'm glad I did it. Because I shouldn't have to feel this way, but I feel like it's a way to validate my illness to other people. And again, like it's kind of sad that I have to feel that way, that I need something to validate my illness, because I already knew that it was there before, but not everybody would believe that it was there before. But I have test results now that say, look, this is like not normal. And so people kind of have to take me seriously now because the doctor said so. But that was my experience with the the tilt table. He told me that my vagus nerve was not working. So it was slow. My brain was not sending the right signals to my body fast enough. The vagus nerve is kind of like, you could think of it almost like the vagus nerve is in charge of so many different things in the body. If you look up vagus nerve and hit images, you can see some diagrams showing where the vagus nerve goes to, and it's very apparent about why it would cause dysautonomia, because it is in charge of digestion, breathing, I think. Breathing is a part of dysautonomia. I have a problem with breathing sometimes. blood pressure, heart rate, all of that stuff, vagus nerve. And there's a bunch of other stuff that the vagus nerve does. So if you're interested, you could, I might even put something in the description. I don't know. And the echocardiogram was unremarkable. I put it in quotes and I laugh because that's what the paper said, and I don't know why, but it's kind of funny to me that that's I have a strange sense of humor, but my echocardiogram was unremarkable, so, which means it was pretty normal. I think the only thing that showed up was I have a trace amount of regurgitation in one of, or like a few of the places in my heart. I think it was regurgitation. I don't remember which valves or anything, but it said trace amount. So very, very, very tiny amount, trace amount. Just enough that it came up on the test, but it's not serious, like not super serious. And my guess would be that the reason why I do have that in the first place is because of my Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. In Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, everything is too stretchy, and so if your heart's trying to like pump blood and it's too stretchy, you know, it might not, I don't know why I'm doing this, but you know, it might not close tightly enough if it's too stretchy like a rubber band. That would be my guess. It's like the song Elastic Heart. How does it go? And I've got something in an elastic heart, and tell you pull too hard, fall apart, 'cause I've got an elastic heart. I don't know the words. I think that's all I'm going to talk about for this video because that was kind of a lot of information. They're going to have me swallow a smart pill to check for gastroparesis. So it's basically a mini computer. I'm going to swallow it like the Magic School Bus or something. And it's going to check to see how fast things are moving along or if they're not moving along, which is what gastroparesis is. Gastroparesis kind of means literally paralyzed stomach, and like some people it's not completely paralyzed. It's one of those things, of course, it ranges from mild to severe. So some people, their stomach does not work at all, and some people it works some but not a normal amount. I would probably guess that I would be somewhere in the mild to moderate, more on the moderate side would be my guess, but I don't know. I have not been diagnosed with that yet. I am waiting to be tested for that, and I am also waiting to be tested for mast cell activation syndrome. That is, I'm not going to talk about that today because that's a lot of information also, but I did get a blood test for that today, and then I'm also going to have some other testing involving that, but okay. If you watched this all the way through, you're cool, and I love you guys, and I think I enjoy recording right here. So I might be making videos more often because I think part of the reason why I have not been making videos is because I can't, it's too many steps for my brain to handle. I get overwhelmed with all the editing and stuff. But when I just turn on the camera and talk and then post it without watching it, it's much less stressful for me, much more enjoyable, and I feel more natural. It's a little bit longer, but oh well. Well, I will see you next time. Like and subscribe, and turn on those notifications, and share, and bye.